Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So the last talk I was talking about the construction job, and I said, okay, now I'm going to talk about how I'm going to destroy this. Me, I never really worked a lot throughout my life. I used to, like when I was a kid, I used to go work at like McDonald's and work at Wendy's and but I wasn't like I never kept these jobs for like a very long time. I think the one job that I probably kept, I worked at McDonald's for like 6 months, and that was it. So I have these like little off and on spurts where I work, and then I do other things, making money by illegal means, and then it just wasn't working out. Then I go back, I work. It was like back and forth. So at this point, I'm like really tired. I'm just working. I got these 2 jobs. So he told me like basically get rid of the dominoes and just focus on the construction job. So I listened to him. I got in an argument the one day with one of the other drivers of Domino's. I was like, I'm done, dude. I'm like, I can't take this anymore, because I'm like, once I start to get frustrated where I'm like taking my anger out on other people, it's like it's time to go. Because I'm gonna end up creating like a toxic environment just because of me overexerting myself when I'm not accustomed to working. So I just quit, like the Domino's things. Because I remember it's like this was when the wildfire started. Because I mentioned that in the previous video, where this was the summer, where it wasn't raining in Jacksonville, in Florida. Most of Florida, it just wasn't raining. So it just got hot and hot and hot. And even like my boss, when I was doing construction, he was complaining so much because I'd be up. This was like now at this time, like once I stopped the Domino's because I wasn't working at night. See, here's the thing, right? The Domino's kind of kept me on the straight and narrow, because I was working at night. So when I come home from Domino's, I collapse, dude. I'm like, I'm done. I'm finished. I go to sleep. I mean, imagine I was out working construction in the hot sun all day long. I come home, I take a shower, I just eat something very quick, and I barely ate anything. Whatever was in the house, a sandwich or something. And then I go to Domino's and I'm delivering pizzas at night. And I work up until like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock delivering pizzas. And then I go home. I just collapse. So I'm not doing anything. Like, there's no, all these extracurricular activities in my life, they don't exist. Like I said, they existed on the weekend. But once he convinced me to quit the Domino's, now, as they always say down south, they say the idle mind is the devil's playhouse or the devil's workshop. So I had all this free time now. Now I'm working from 7 o'clock in the morning. I get off at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Because this is in the summer, so like 5 o'clock is really like we pray Asr after 5 o'clock. Like even right now, is March, the end of March, and we're praying like Salat Asr like 5 o'clock. So like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that's the afternoon. You know what I'm saying? That's like Asr time. So I'm getting off at 5 o'clock. Now I got all this free time now. I didn't have this before. Now I can go home and take a shower, and now I can do some extracurricular activities for the night. And this is where I started to get in trouble. So this is where I started drinking a little bit, started smoking more weed, started drinking a little bit. And then, next thing you know, I'm coming to work the next day. I got to work in the hot sun. So like I said, I'll be up on the ladder. I'm dehydrated like crazy. It's sun is beating down. Some of these job sites, there's no trees. They cleared out all the trees. So when you get up you're getting up on the ladder, doing like I have to nail in the siding on the house up where the roof is. This is like a 2-story building. You just like got the sun just like, just beaming on your head, right? So there's no protection from the sun. So I'm like way up on the ladder, nail, go down the ladder, drink some water, go back up the ladder, move it, nail, go down, drink some water. So he's like, man, you got to stop this, man. Why you keep coming down to drink water? I was like, dude, I'm thirsty. He's like, do you see everybody out here? Do you see anybody else doing this? Well, it's because of that. It's the alcohol, it had me so dehydrated. So the next day, and I'm not thinking. And then what happens now is that I was handling 2 jobs without drinking, without doing drugs. I had no problems. But now, because I have 1 job, but now I got these extracurricular activities, it's zapping my energy away. It's zapping my energy away, because everybody knows if you smoke weed, you're gonna be eating garbage. You're not gonna be eating healthy. You're not gonna be eating foods that are gonna give you energy. You're gonna be going to Taco Bell. You're gonna be going, and this is what ends up happening. So I go home, I'm smoking, then I order a pizza. I buy a pizza, I eat a whole pizza, because I'm like, I got the munchies, and I just ate like a whole large pizza by myself. Now I got to go to work the next day in the hot sun, dehydrated like you couldn't even imagine. So it took its toll on me. And then I started snapping at people at work. I'm starting to like have this bad attitude. I'm like, well, I'm not doing this. I need to take a break. I need to sit down. I need some shade. And then, like I said, just drinking water. And this, you see, and now here's the downfall. So like, it just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Forget this. There's got to be a better way to be making money than to sit out here in the hot sun every day, and doing this. So now here I have all this beautiful opportunity. All I had to do was just be patient, just get my life together, have a little bit of self-discipline, and but I didn't want it. So I made the choice that I made. So I talked with my friend. I said, look, man, you go in half and half with me. I'm gonna go over to the west side and I'm gonna get some pharmaceuticals. And then we're gonna start selling it. We're gonna start, just like becoming like a pharmacist, inshallah. And I gotta be very vague in this part of the story. Because, obviously I'm in, Allah musta'an. I don't want to say anything that's incriminating. So I became I started studying pharmacy, let's say. Let's just keep it like that. So I started studying like pharmaceutical medicines. But not necessarily, I guess they're pharmaceutical now. So, and this is like, this is the route that I took now. I said, I can't do this anymore. And this whole weak mentality, and that's the whole thing, and that's what I'm telling you. It's that loser mindset. Like, here you have the opportunity. But you gotta work for it. You gotta put in some work, and you're gonna have to like sweat, and there's gonna be like a lot of toil and a lot of hard work and a lot of hardship. But the outcome of it is good if you're patient, and that's the majority of the things that we have. When we make those decisions in our lives, we come face to face with that decision. Either one, I'm gonna put in the hard work, I'm gonna do this. Or I'm just gonna like take the easy route and just call myself a failure, and that's that fork in the road, and we all will have to make that decision where it's like, okay, I'm gonna take this one, I'm gonna take this path, and and this is why, like, when I started reading poetry, Robert Frost, he actually wrote. I'm talking about English poetry. I'm not talking about Arabic poetry because the amount of English poetry I read is very little. The only thing that I used to read was like the sonnets of Shakespeare. I love the sonnets of Shakespeare. I loved them. I was memorizing. And Robert Frost, he wrote a poem. It's called I can't remember like the name of the poem. Two roads or whatever. The road not taken. Where he talked about like two roads diverging in the wood. But the thing was like I can't remember the poem. It's been so long since I like read that poem. But the point of the poem was that he came to that fork in the road where these two roads they diverged in the woods. And he's looking down this one, and he's looking down this one, and he's trying to decide which one he's going to take. Because he said it in the poem. He said, I knew whichever. He said that if I take this one, I take this one. There's no coming back. Like once I get on that road, it's over. So this path is the path that everybody goes on. Everybody's walked on. You can see that the path has been worn, and so you see that everybody's walked there. So this is definitely what. It's the easier path to walk down because you can see like, all the leaves have been, trodden black, like because they've been stepped on so much because people keep walking down that path. So this is the path that everybody follows. But this is not the path to success. This was not the path that I chose. This was the path that I chose to follow in those days, which later, inshallah, my mindset changes, when I started to when I flipped and then I started taking the other paths. But right now, at this point in my life, I'm still in that loser mode. And that's the loser mode. When you come to that fork in the road and you say, I'm going to take the easier path because I'm not ready to go through the pain and the suffering that's on this path. But you don't realize that's that pain and suffering. You don't realize you got to understand like not the pain and the suffering. So you're focusing on what's in the path, but you're not focusing at the goal, at the achievement, the thing that's at the end of the path. And that's how how myopic we are. We only see what's in front of us. So all we can do is we can look from here to here. We're not looking way down into the future. We're not looking because that's that loser mentality. And we all, all of us, if we looked back at our youth, because especially like the people that got raised up in the streets, this is the type of mentality that we all got raised up with. Because our parents, you think my mother was a drug addict because she had this self-determination and self-discipline? You think my father was a drug addict because he had those same types of ambitions in his life? No, they're losers. I don't want to call my mother a loser. I love my mother dearly. My mother is the most beloved person to me, outside of the brothers, as far as like the, people, I guess you could say like family, my mother is the most beloved person to me. But let's just be realistic. Her mindset to cause her to like have the lifestyle that she had was the same type of mindset where she wants to ease. She wants to take that easy path. My father the same. He wants to take the easy path. He wasn't ready to put in the struggle and the pain and the suffering and the heartache that it's going to take to go down that other path. So Robert Frost, when he talked about that, he said, I took the path that was less, that was the one the people didn't take. The one that was like, that was like, looked like it, it was just calling people to go down that path because nobody wanted to take that path. It just looked too difficult. And what did he say? And he said that made all the difference. All the difference in your life, it comes when you make those decisions. Because if you want to follow that path that everybody follows of ease, then you're going to get the result that everybody's getting. It's nothing. If you go and look at the people in their lives and the complaints that they have, it's all because it goes back to that decision. When they got into that fork in the road, when those two roads diverged, and then they had the choice to go right or the choice to go left, they chose to go right. They chose not the right, Islamically. I'm just talking about the poem itself. Actually they go left because they're taking the easy path into the right. Because Ashab al-Yamin, right? So they chose to go left. They chose to go on that easy path. They chose to take the easy. They chose to follow the people. They chose to do what everybody else is doing. And what do they get? They get the same complaints, the same loss, the same heartache, the same, at the end, there's nothing at the end of that path. Nothing. Nothing except for regret. At the end of that path, there's a big pile of regret. That's it. Why did I choose this life? Now I'm stuck here. Because there's no going back. And once I got to my life, when I made that decision to go to Yemen, that was when I came to that big fork in the road. Like right now I'm at the smaller forks and I'm making the wrong decisions, but it gives me something to reflect back on. Because now, later on, this is like 1998. Fast forward a year later when I'm leaving and going to Atlanta and I'm practicing my religion and I'm preparing to go to Yemen. A year later, imagine there's a separation of 1 year between this attitude that I'm going through and now I'm going to Yemen. So it's 1 year. So it's not like this is 5 years difference. No, this is 1998. In 1999, I went to Atlanta. 2000, I was on a plane going to Yemen. So from this period of me making this decision now to start studying pharmaceuticals and to make that easy choice, that loser choice, that's going to have all the regret and all the pain and all the suffering and all the threats to my life. At the end of this path, just from that time until 2 years later, I'm in Yemen. I'm studying my religion. I'm not a changed man, but, the change is in process. Because that's the thing about us, it takes time. We want everything like this. We want everything to change immediately. We want everything just to be like the way that we want it. It doesn't work like that. The process of maturing, the process of becoming a better person, the process of changing your mindset is a lot of pain and suffering. So just get this out of your head that you're going to take that path. And just remember, go back and read that poem. I would never sit here and advise people to read a poem from a Kafir, but go back and read that poem. Read that poem by Robert Frost about the road less taken. And read that. And then what did he say at the end? He said, I chose the one that was less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Something like, I'm paraphrasing. Maybe I got it right. Maybe I got it wrong. You can check. But he said that's what made all the difference. Because he chose to take the road that was less traveled by. The pain, the suffering. But at the end of that is achievement. You've achieved something because there's a goal attached to it. You think that a person's going to go through all the pain and suffering in his life? For what? There has to be a goal. There has to be something that you're working to. See, the people that take the easy road, they're the ones without the goals. They're the ones that are not trying to achieve anything. They're the ones that have no ambitions in their life. The losers. So they just want to take the easy road. And that's why at the end of the road, they get nothing but regret. Well, they have never struggled for anything. The only time that this life has any type of flavor is if you struggle for it. If you struggle for it. If you struggle for what you get. Even for the person in the dunya. You look at the person who really, really worked hard to establish a business. We're talking about the dunyawi person. We're not even talking about the person that's deen. Talking about the dunyawi person who works hard to establish a business, to make a business, and he's losing sleep and he's losing food. He's going hungry. But at the end, his business becomes successful and he becomes this rich man. You think he's going to enjoy his life more or the person who was born into that type of lifestyle? The person whose father was rich and he was going to like high school in a Porsche or a Ferrari and he had everything that he wanted. Who's going to enjoy? Who's going to really taste life? That guy that worked for it. The guy that went through the struggles. So it's the same thing now when we look at our religion. If you want to take the easy way and you want to take, that route to like, oh, I want to go sit in here because they have air conditioned classrooms. They have a McDonald's next to the school. They have this, they have that. And then, or this person now that wants to take the heart, but look at what you're going to get in the future. All right. Because anything that's worth having, it's worth struggling for. It's worth fighting for. It's worth dying for. It's worth going hungry for. It's worth going thirsty for. It's worth giving, everything, giving everything of yourself for achieving that thing. But like I said, that's not my mindset at this time. My mindset is the loser mindset. And that's what led me down that path that what everybody wants to go to making money easy, right? The easy way of making money. Let's put these things in baggies and let's sell these out on the streets. Because I had a lot of clientele. I had a lot of friends. And mashallah, money started pouring in. And I'm living like, I'm living a good life, right? Mashallah, I went from drinking, Old English to drinking Hennessy, to drinking, going to like, to the bars and ordering Remy Martin and wearing nice clothes and, smoking Cuban cigars because I love Cuban cigars. And, mashallah, life was great. Loser. It's a loser mentality. And you see, that's what you see with a lot of the social media and a lot of the music and a lot of the movies. That's what they call you to. They call you that loser mentality. Ain't nobody making a song telling you to struggle and strive and fight for what you believe in. No, they're making songs about like love and desires and fulfilling your desires and all this other foolishness that's going to make you a loser and send you on that path to get to the end of the road where all you have is regret. Allahumma musta'an. Allahumma musta'an. So take that, like these decisions we have to make. Now at this time in my life, this is 1998, and I'm making that wrong decision. I'm going down that road that everybody wants to go on. I'm going down that road. I'm taking that path. But Allahumma musta'an, inshallah, you see, as we go along, you start to see the wake up process little by little, and especially when you start to realize that the people that you were loyal to, they didn't deserve the loyalty, and the people that you should have been loyal to, you didn't give them the loyalty they deserved, and that's why your life is messed up. Allahumma musta'an.